And Charles, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hey, all you sexy souls out there.
Welcome to Soul Sexy.
Welcome to Soul Sexy. And this has definitely been an interesting holiday season that we're going into, and super excited to end this year with a shebang and step into the new.
I love shebangs.
I like shebangs too.
That's how you got to finish the year.
It's like Ricky Martin. Is he the one who's like, shebang, shebang? So maybe that wasn't him. I don't know. Maybe that was, I don't know. It's one of those Latin ones. But
So we're sticking with our theme for holidays, and we're going to get some tips, some golden nuggets on how to not just survive, but thrive through the holidays.
You know, I like that. I like how you spun that around, because I'm like, how do we survive the holidays? You know, and a lot of us like have anxiety going back to be with our parents or our family who, you know, we've been away with, and we moved away, we live on our own, we do our own things. But when we come back into a huge household or small household, whatever it may be, and you have to conform into the old rules again. And that's kind of difficult. I find personally, absolutely, how those rules are. So this will be a really interesting discussion today. And we have the wonderful Jaime Allen, who will be calling in a moment, who is a therapist who can help give us some tips and tricks for that. But let's start off, you know, where are you going this holiday season?
I am excited to be going to Colorado to spend Christmas with my beloved and her family for the first time.
Nice. And are you guys going skiing or?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're going to go snowboarding and explore, family time. I'm excited. Her family's rad, so.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm
lucky.
Are you guys like, yeah, that's awesome. You are lucky. Are you guys like, what mountain are you guys going up to?
I'm not even sure yet.
Okay.
We'll find out when we get there. We just planned this.
There's definitely no planning with tickets.
Got confirmed today.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty rad.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado is an amazing space, and I'm definitely getting that urge to go and play in the mountains for sure.
Family time, gifts, giving, quality time, and then boom, off to Costa Rica for some tropical New Year's.
Well, that's amazing. Yeah. And I'm so stoked too. It is my big 4-0 coming up, which is kind of crazy, and I'm going home to Florida. And well, not home is Maryland, but you know, still home to Florida, and it'll be a good time to see the fam. And then I've got a group of like 15 of us that are all taking off to Tulum, Mexico for the new year to ring it in the right way, and I'm super excited about that and all that yumminess that brings.
Early happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Big 4-0, that's a big one.
It's so weird to think, you know, and it's like when we're younger.
Still looking glorious.
Thank you.
Making 40 look good.
I mean, hey, thank you. I'm trying. That's why I joined boot camp again, so that I make sure when I'm in Tulum, I'm going to have that rockin' washboard body, you know, to be like, 40? What are you talking about? Like, that's right. That's right.
Somebody's got to wash the clothes there.
I don't know. I was not even
Bring
washing my clothes there, but I got my washboard. I don't know if I want anyone washing my board per se. I'm quite happy being single right now and like by my own self and not having anyone. That feels really good. Like it's the first time to be like, I don't want to be with anyone. So that's, you know, that's actually like it's been a long time since I felt this way. So like just being empowered to be like, I'm doing my own thing and I don't want anyone else in my space except for my friends. Yeah, yes. It's like freedom in a whole new way. Like I just don't. Yeah, it's kind of it's funny because it's like the more that you're like owning that space, people show up and that will try, and I'm like, no, sorry. You're not my king. Until you're my king, it's not happening. So
in due time.
But I'm not even looking for it. So that feels really good. Like I'm having so much fun just rocking it with the girls or guys, friends that I have, and that's just been been yummy. Yeah, and like so focused on workspace. So it's funny when you like shift your attention on what shows up. So a lot of work amazingness has been showing up. So lovely and loving staying in that flow.
Yeah. So, where do you keep your attention through the holidays?
Yes.
That is our question.
Where do you keep that attention through the
This
holidays?
magic wand of attention that we are so gifted with
Yes.
in these human bodies.
Yeah, I like to keep it through gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah.
Great place to keep it.
Yeah.
Come back to gratitude.
Absolutely. I feel like gratitude is always the place to start and come into for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what about you?
Well, same. I'm so appreciative of my family, my friends, my tribe, and just everything right now is like I see everything elevating in life. Yeah, even humanity.
Humanity
It's
elevating.
like go Team Earth right now. Like we are more conscious every day. Like more and more people are waking up, and it's spreading like a ripple effect, and it's showing in taking better care of our Earth, our planet, ourselves, and world peace starts with inner peace.
This is very true, and I think more people are waking up to that, and or at least what I'm seeing is more people are waking up to that, and I hope it just keeps spreading even more.
That's where I keep my attention.
Yeah,
on
I like
those that are on Team Earth, moving forward and elevating rapidly.
Yeah,
with the same cause. It's awesome. We're just raising the vibration of the human population because that's what we do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! And I was waiting for how many rhymes he was actually going to get in with that, and I was like, how long is he going to go on that?
Started.
That was pretty cool. Yeah. So okay, so you're going to be with your beloved's family. What about what is your personal what are your brothers doing?
So we usually do Christmas at a multitude of different places. My aunts for Christmas Eve, my stepmoms for Christmas morning, and then our family friends and ventures out. So it's a lot of moving parts, but it's cool because we get to see everybody. So I'm a little torn because this will be the first Christmas that I haven't been home with my family for a long time.
I was going to say that's what was one of my questions. Like, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So and how is it to I know, and I don't want to get too personal, but it's also the first Christmas I think without your dad being there also, right? So how is everyone coping with that?
We've all have our own ways of doing that, and we've really come together strong in the midst of losing my father last year. And so at this point, we've been able to really appreciate, and I'm grateful for the 38 years that I got with him. And a couple bonus years. The doctor said that, you have cancer and you only have 2 months to live because you're at stage 4. And to talk to my dad and in that conversation and say, do you want to live? Do you want to beat this? And he was like, fuck yeah, I want to beat this. And I said, well, don't listen to a word those doctors say. And we got an extra 2 years.
That's amazing.
Amazing memories and experiences, and I just feel really blessed. And so one of the golden nuggets in death is that it brings people closer together. Yeah. And it eliminates a lot of the bullshit in people's lives. Like you can forget about the little things that aren't important that we put our attention on that don't really mean anything and really come together. And so I miss him, Yeah. But it's we have each other. My brothers, my stepmoms, my dad's girlfriend, and she's family. It's just it keeps growing and it becomes stronger with all of us together. So
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's been a blessing.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, but that's amazing that you guys can all come together in that way and being able to heal. And I think that's another reason why I thought this show would be important. On how do people cope through the holidays? Maybe they don't have their certain loved ones that are here this year, or maybe it's going back home to a crazy family that you still hold on to some stuff. And mine is totally different. But our guest is calling in, so I'm going to bring her onto the show right now. Perfect timing. And so, Jaime, we are so excited to have you on air today. We've just been doing a long introduction on what it is like to, this holiday season and how to cope and get through. And so we're so excited to have you on the show to kind of give us some tips and tricks on how to get through a tricky holiday. And as Charles was saying, maybe not even like tips and tricks, or tips and tricks, but it's not just how to survive, maybe it's how to thrive during that. So anyway, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys having me. And I really like how you guys enable it or label it as tricks, because I feel like that's something that we all kind of have to remember when it comes to, ourselves, because our brains can sometimes trick us with what it thinks. And in order for us to sometimes make good choices and to nurture ourselves and to have a, pretty healthy mentality, we kind of have to trick our brain back. So I like that you guys say that, it's all about how you change your perspective on something.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. I like how you guys are talking about, different tips in regards to when you're home for the holidays and being with family. I know that family can be extremely triggering, and it can bring up all of these issues in us that are wounds that we've had for a long time. And if we live apart from our family, then it can be kind of easy for these feelings to remain dormant inside of us. And it can kind of just go unstirred up. But then when we hang out with our family, sometimes just one little thing they can say or one little look they can give can just bring up all of this stuff from the past. And it can be pretty explosive sometimes. Probably the best thing that I've been thinking of, or at least something I try to implement, is healthy boundaries is something that's really important. And also breaking codependent patterns. Sometimes we feel like we have to take care of other people's emotions. We feel like we have to make them feel better, and it's not acceptable or tolerable for another person to be upset. And it's not okay for us to just let them be upset over there in the corner. We have to fix it. We have to be who they want us to be. We have to, manage their emotions, and it feels very uncomfortable in us when we feel this way. But something that I've been really trying to put into practice, and what I've been really remembering lately, is just to know that people can feel however they want to feel. They have every right to be upset if they want, and you don't have to fix it or do anything to fix it. You can just let them be triggered and process it on their own, and, have the responsibility to regulate themselves emotionally. And then you just regulate your own self emotionally.
And Jaime, I love this.
So that's just something.
I love what you're saying. This resonates so much. And not to get too into my drama, but it is it is a lot when you are so used to living alone, and you have your own things, and you're used to cooking a certain way, or waking up at a certain time, or getting a snack in the middle of the night and not bothering anyone, or whatever it is. And then you come together with whether it's a big family or a few other people, and have to learn how to co-live in a small space again. And it kind of reverts back to almost childhood. And it's in a way, reverting back to some of those roles. And so how do you keep yourself from reverting back to those old patterns and those old roles? I guess that's my first question.
Well, that's a really good question. And I actually have found that, just from personal experience, something that I had to deal with in Thanksgiving. So I went home to Boston, and I was staying with my aunt for the first time. And usually I stay with my dad. But staying with my aunt made me feel like I didn't know what I was allowed or not allowed to do. How should I behave? How can I respect her? How can I communicate with her in certain ways? And so I almost kind of felt like, am I allowed to come and go freely? Can I leave the house if I want? And I was actually talking to a therapist of mine, and she was saying that while we have these childhood wounds that come up in us, we have to remind ourselves that we're actually not children, and that we're adults, and that we can do what we want to do. Because sometimes when we're with our family, we get thrown back to the time when we're 5, or thrown back to the time when we're 17. And we have to remind ourselves that we're not that age anymore. And so we may revert back to those patterns, but really it's about reminding ourselves that we're adults, and that we can take care of ourselves, and that we can be independent, and that we are responsible for that.
So what will be a good tool for example, my family at Thanksgiving? There's a bunch of us, and we all believe in different things. And my dad, he is a very passionate person, per se, and very sensitive. And the sensitivities tend to go more towards anger. And, let's say someone just flies off the handle and ruins, or what we maybe it was a ruin. I'm going to say ruin. Thanksgiving dinner. And everyone starts starting off in different directions, and there's yelling, and it's just so much stimulation. And yeah, you could sit there and just like let that go screaming in the corner, but it's still reverberating through your brain, your soul, and like, you know, the vibrations through the whole house. And then everyone else runs off in different directions, and then you're just sitting there and you're like, what the bleep just happened? And how would you deal with like burst outs of like disagreements in other people's lives? I'm sure they're not as dramatic as mine, but like, how would you deal with, you know, burst outs or disagreements in that sense? Like, do you just allow it all to happen? Or again, how do you like, for me, it's like, okay, I want to calm it down because I don't want this screaming to continue, and I don't want this person running off, and I don't want this person feeling bad that they cooked all day and it's ruined, or like whatever else is going on. That's the extreme, but I'm the extreme. So there you go. Wow.
Well, I really love that you shared all that, first of all. And it's really brave for you to share, you know, events from your own life in this way. So I think that's really great. And it seems like there was a couple of different themes that I was observing you say as you were saying these things, one of which you want to protect yourself and your loved one. Mm-hmm. You wanted to protect the person that made the dinner. You wanted to protect yourself from feeling triggered. You wanted to, in a way, maybe even protect your father from his outbursts, which creates him to have negative consequences in his life because mm-hmm. of them. I feel like there's a lot of wanting to fix things and a lot of wanting to protect yourself and others. Yeah. And wanting to control the situation, wanting to de-escalate things, wanting to maybe give yourself the power to make everything all better for everybody else. Mm-hmm. And I would say that can be very exhausting and a losing battle, because it's difficult to even manage things in our own lives, much less for everybody else's life. But it's tempting to want to do it, especially when we grow up in a household where we feel like negative conversations lead to dangerous consequences, or it leads to very uncomfortable outcomes. So of course we want to caretake everybody else as well. And that would be a time where it may be even really good for you to focus on self-care, or focus on what you can do to make yourself feel comfortable and safe in this situation. How can you honor and take care of your emotions at this time? Do you need to take a little time out? Do you need to walk out of the room for a few minutes to bring your own emotions back to calm? Do you need to let it play out with each other? Because do they need to communicate something that maybe they've not shared with the other person that they need to get off their chest? Like, is this a productive conversation? Or if this person is just actively yelling, it may sometimes be about putting that boundary in, and you can even sometimes set boundaries beforehand, like setting the stage, where you can say, how about this holiday, we all make an agreement that if things get too heated, we'll all just take a little time out and let things calm down. So kind of like a preemptive agreement that you all have going in.
And to relieve some of the pressure in the room.
Yeah. And you know what? That all sounds like amazing. And like and our family has definitely talked about this before, and there was, because I almost didn't go, there was boundaries supposed to happen, but see, a particular person doesn't follow those boundaries, and there's no way of, when you set them, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It's what happens anyway. So like, there's no, I guess we could all just sit there and like look and accept, but it's also like, dealing with loudness, like I can't handle it. So how do you handle it?
I call it finding the eye of the storm. It's like you do it for yourself first. So you even in the midst of all these heavy emotions and chaos going on, you can have a seat in the seat of consciousness and observe it all, and be like, oh, I'm just who's witnessing these emotions, right? And then you can watch all this as it unfolds, and again with others as they're triggering you, and be like, wow, what is there to learn here? What can what kind of golden nuggets can I pull from this? And everybody has their own triggers, and those are all leading back to something that we can heal in ourselves. So the eye of the storm, that's been that's a good one. I'm working on mastery of that. And it's been really helpful, especially through the holidays. Yeah. And it's interesting how the holidays, we're supposed to be this amazing time with our family and giving and cheer and holiday spirit. And yet, statistics say that that's like the highest rate of depression and suicide during the
Drinking
holiday
or-
season, right?
yeah.
And so I think a lot of that is based on expectations we hold of ourselves and others about, like, you know, you put all this pressure on
perfect
ourselves
holiday.
about, creating this perfect experience for everyone, and then when it blows up, it's like, you know, everybody ignites that fire in everyone. So
Yeah.
to be able to observe that and then just come back to gratitude, you know,
Mm-hmm.
of we have everybody together and the intention, like setting the intention of why we're all here and how we can enjoy this the most,
Yeah.
you know, without all these heavy expectations on one another. It's really powerful and allows you to bring, you know, more holiday cheer back in your life.
Jesus. and too, like, how about, you know, Charles, and I thank you for all of that as well. And I know this comes from a space of, you know, again, we were talking about earlier, Jamie, before you came on, how this is the first year Charles's dad isn't here joining them, and you know, and like how he's coping with that. So how would you, what advice could both of you, you know, give to those who have loved ones that are no longer with them on this earth this season?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I think that grief can be really challenging because whenever it comes to any kind of a loss, there is a cycle of emotions that somebody will go through with that. So when you're like actively in the grieving phase, there will be different emotions that come up in you, like depression, like anger, like the negotiating in the bargaining phase, denial, you know, these different phases of grief, basically, and then eventually the acceptance. So if you're like actively, really recently have been grieving somebody that has passed away, it's just about knowing that there are these different stages that you'll go through, that they may not come in order and they may not come, you know, in logical ways, but that they'll come up for you at different times, and you may even be surprised of when they come up. It may seem strange when they come up in ways that they do. And just to really have compassion and nurturing for yourself in regards to going through these phases, because it is a very unstable and unpredictable time, especially if the person that's passed, like in your case, is a parent, somebody that represents security and safety for you. You may also feel just kind of in general your sense of safety in yourself and in the world may being a little rattled right now. So again, being extra comforting to yourself during this time of vulnerability. And then also you may find just very special ways that you can find to honor the person that you love who's not with you right now.
Yeah.
There may be a certain way that you can like incorporate like a new tradition into the holiday that honors that person, that really keeps them, you know, with you.
That's a really great idea.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I even find that, you know, I used to try to ignore all these emotions or not feel the ones that I don't like feeling, right? And grieving, sadness, and I had a moment of sadness with my father while he was on his deathbed that really showed me some of the gold in the emotion of sadness. Like I got to have my hand on his heart while he's on his deathbed, and our friend was playing this song called Let It Flow, and it just really like it was, I can't even remember the last time my dad saw me cry, you know, so I just let all these tears flow, and I thought, like, wow, what an incredible human phenomenon. Like when we have too much joy and we can't contain it anymore, we laugh and spasm, right? Even to the point of crying. And when we have so much sadness in our body that we can't contain, then we have to release it through liquid emotions. And I thought it was just beautiful in that moment to really sit with sadness and use it as an opportunity to show him how much it means to me. And that was a powerful moment for me. And in that, he helped me find my tears again. I had some old programs running of like, you know, can't cry, it's a sign of weakness and all that BS. So it felt really good to have that release whenever I needed to. And I'm thankful for that. Yeah.
Charles, I really like how in your experience you were able to really separate yourself from the philosophy or the statement that men can't cry or crying is weakness. I really like how you've changed that and you've really turned it around for yourself, and you've changed it to know that actually crying is connection. And I think that it's beautiful that you were able to honor that in yourself, especially during that time. And that you were able to show that to your father during a time where sometimes we want to hide our feelings from the person that we love because we don't want to hurt them or we don't want to make them feel bad. I love that you were able to let him see that vulnerability in you, because it's true. He was able to see how important he was to you.
And I remember times where, you know, my dad and I butted heads so much, we hated each other through times, and there was not a lot of love there, especially through expression, you know, like we didn't say I love yous, and not a lot of hugs and stuff through that phase of life. And it was my sister, such an angel, Callie, came into this world and opened all of our hearts. Like I realized, like after that, we had like this whole new appreciation and like let down a lot of the shields over our heart, and we were able to invite like some more love and communication around that, and just like, you know, I could tell my dad I love him again, and like get it, you know, and have hugs, and if I never made it to that you know, emotional intelligence and that level of connection before he passed, well, I don't think I could ever live with that. So some of the gold that I've learned from death is that, you know, there's nothing like our mortality to make us really appreciate life and the ones that we get to share this life with. So tell those that you love how much you love them. Tell those people that mean a lot to you how much they mean to you. That is one of the biggest nuggets I've gained from this, and some of the best advice I can give. And the best gift that we can give is presence.
Yep. Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Charles, I would be curious, as you're sharing your story about your dad, what kind of new traditions can you incorporate into your holiday that honor him?
Yeah, that's an easy one. My father is a legend. He was the king of celebration. So he was the best storyteller. So we can do a round table of our favorite story in remembrance of my father, and in celebration of the life that we still get to live, and the torch that we carry from him.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really great. So what tools could you guys give maybe some other people that are going through this, either like right now, right before the holidays, that could work for them? What not staying in that sadness, or maybe you do need to stay in the sadness. I don't know what.
Feel it fully, you know. Don't, like, I used to be afraid of these emotions, and now knowing that there is so much to learn from sitting with them, and that everything is temporary. So if you can sit with it and really like feel it fully, and notice like what comes up, where you feel it, write about it. You know, a lot of clarity comes with writing, and then you might find some amazing lessons or learn something about yourself in these heavy emotions, and then these too will pass. You know, and then because you've taken that low of a, you know, blow, like a new level, a new rock bottom, some say, then that's increased your capacity for life. So you have, on the other end of that, a newfound level of bliss or joy of like full expression. And so it's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah.
And we're here as humans to experience the whole spectrum.
Yeah.
The whole
Ain't that the
emotional
truth?
gauntlet.
Ain't that
So
the truth?
that which we resist just persists. So instead of storing it as issues in our tissues, just feel it fully, witness it, and pull the golden nuggets from it and leave the rest.
Yeah. And Jaime, what advice would you give to those that maybe have problems with like addictions, you know, through the holidays, whether it's like overeating, over shopping, or drinking? Like how to help, you know, I think the holidays brings out a lot of that from people.
Yeah.
So maybe we touch on each of those.
Comfort food.
Yeah, how to not, you know, go into that space.
Definitely. I think that the nature of addiction is, like Charles said, comfort. And it's about trying to fulfill a need in us that can't be fulfilled any other way, or at least they haven't figured out any other way to fulfill it, or at least not a way that's as effective. So that's something that it's important to ask, like, what is this substance or food or alcohol? What benefit is it giving me? Because there is some intended benefit to be gotten from it. Is it giving comfort? Is it numbing emotions? Is it like relief of emotions? That sort of thing. So is it reducing the intensity so that it's tolerable? It's about being able to find what purpose is this serving in your life or attempting to serve. And then can you substitute or replace it with another, they call them healthy coping mechanisms. So another way. So instead of maybe overeating like all the pie, is there something that can really nurture you? So when you're like wanting to overeat and wanting for comfort, you can ask yourself, what am I really hungry for? What do I really need? Because we try all of these kind of misguided attempts to satisfy our needs and fill it with all these external things, when really there's an internal emotional need that is crying to be looked at and is really trying to be very, very loud. And we do try to numb it, or we do judge our feelings about it. But usually these needs and these feelings are really trying to just talk to us and just trying to give us messages about how they want us to take care of ourselves. So to try to take care of ourselves in the way we really need, instead of maybe just escaping or numbing or drowning out. So if your emotion is saying, I really need to escape, I really need to numb this, how can you take care of yourself and let yourself maybe physically escape the situation and regulate your emotions instead of just drinking them away, for instance?
And so let's say, and I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about someone I actually know. I have a friend.
Sure.
No, well, yeah, I have a friend, and she's going through a lot right now, and has a drinking. I mean, this is a tougher, deeper issue. I know, a drinking situation that has been going on for quite some time, and the holidays right now are even tougher for this specific person. I mean, is there a way that you could? I mean, I want to help, but it's also an addiction that I know that's been going on for a while. How do you like cope with that? And if they're doing it right in front of you, where you know it's an addiction, I mean, I guess it's better that they're doing it in front of you and not hiding it, because they would just hide it anyway. But like, what words or tools can you say to help maybe guide them out of that space? But again, it's an underlying issue, so that's probably not a quick fix, but you know.
That's true, yeah. And I appreciate how you would want to help your friend. Anybody who loves somebody who has an addiction is, you know, it's really painful for the loved ones, and it's painful for the person who has the addiction. So of course, like for me, I was in love with somebody who had an addiction, and of course I wanted to rescue and save that person. And it goes even deeper than just wanting to help them. There's also the added knowledge that we always remember, like eventually this would escalate out of control where it could really jeopardize their life. So it's tough, because it's not just like, oh, okay, this person's in a bad relationship, well, they'll break up. It's like, okay, this is a life or death situation for this person, and now how can I stand by knowing that this person might even be killing themselves?
Yes.
So that is what amps up kind of the urgency. And that can be very, very tough for people who do love someone with an addiction. I know there are different groups and support, and especially during the holidays, support is important. That can really help. So like for me, actually, I know that going to Al-Anon did help me a lot. Of course, for the person with the addiction, going to AA or NA, if they can, would be good if they actually want to actively try to treat their addiction. You're right, it does go deeper. There are deep, deep, deep wounds that would be the base of the addiction, and the trying to avoid the feelings. Addiction is a strong avoidance technique, which serves an immediate gratification but creates long-term negative consequences in their life. So that is, tough for them.
So
for me, also reading this book about dealing with codependency by Melody Beatty is actually a really good one. So Codependency No More by Melody Beatty. And then also she has a 365-day book that also really helps. So those help on my end. On your friend's end, it would just be about trying to, again, with boundaries, because sometimes when that person has an addiction, they're not going to want to respect boundaries, because the addiction is all about that need being the priority and taking care of that need no matter the cost.
Right.
And so it will be about, on your end, setting these boundaries, reinforcing the boundaries, and also, if you can, offer the support that you're there for that person if they want to get help for it, but also they may not get help till they're ready. So it may also just be about stepping back and just loving that person for where they are, and, you know, knowing that if they want to change themselves, that you're available to help, but that it's, you know, their choice, which is hard.
And what do you do if you know, let's say, and this, because I know many people that this has happened to. It's been a discussion recently because I've shared. And if this specific person is coming to an event or a party and they are doing their addiction in front of you, you let it happen. How do you address it, or do you not address it? And it's just, there it is. But then it makes you wonder, like, when they leave, if it's your house or you see them leave a bar or a restaurant or wherever it is. I mean, like, you don't want to not invite that person, but like, how do you address that?
Yeah, it's a really difficult thing, because I know with addiction, it's very, very sensitive. The defense mechanisms are extremely strong. So usually confronting it doesn't really create progress until that person's really ready. You know, that's why they talk about the rock bottom being something that's really pivotal for somebody dealing with an addiction. So unfortunately, sometimes the well-meaning intentions of the people who love them can fall kind of on deaf ears, if you know, because they're not really ready to take care of it. So it one of the most painful things, I think, is to kind of step back and just let that person do their own choices, since, you know, they're an adult and they have to make their own choices, as self-destructive as they are, you know.
And what if this person happens to be at your house and, you know, is doing whatever their addiction is, like I said, there, and then they get in their car and they leave? But what? Then
that gets to be a difficult position, because I know you've mentioned you don't want to not invite them.
Right.
But you also deserve to keep a safe space for you. And it may come to a tough decision where you may have to assess the situation and think, is this person safe in my house? Will the people in my house be safe around this person? And are my, you know, the contents of my house safe? That sort of thing. It may come to tough choices, because ultimately, at the end of the day, it is about you setting healthy boundaries for you, which might not include that person in those boundaries.
But if that person's going to do it anyway, whether it's somewhere else and they're out on the road anyway, it's like...
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
because they're not changing their actions, regardless of your choices.
Right. Got it. Okay. Any other tips and tricks? Tips
and tripping
tricks. Anyway, to get through the holiday or to thrive in the holiday. Anything else that you might...
Absolutely. I think expectations are something that's a big thing. And I know that sometimes it's difficult to always know what the people's expectations are in regards to you and yours with them. So sometimes, you know, discussing it before you get there can help. Like, what will be expected of me? In what ways would you like help? In what ways are not important? Here are some of my needs and things I need to do. And so kind of having that pre-discussion can prevent a lot of misunderstandings, or that person getting hurt because maybe you didn't do set thing or you did do set thing. So kind of understanding what these expectations are going in, and then also stating your needs so that you can do it before emotions start to rise and start to escalate. Because when things get to be too hot, then it's difficult to be able to have productive conversations. Right. So having things in the beginning can sometimes troubleshoot it so that later it doesn't get out of control.
And what would you recommend as far as like communication when if something does go awry, waiting for it to cool off? How long do you wait? And then how to approach a situation that is awkward, whether it be family or whether it be friends or whatever else comes up?
Definitely. So in couples therapy, they do talk about something called a timeout. And your body, when you get emotional, it goes into a fight or flight response. And so it will start to escalate. And so your nervous system will start to kick in. And so when you start to notice your nervous system going, it is very difficult to have like a really productive conversation. So it is always a good idea to take a time out in order to regulate your emotions and bring them back down to like a restful state, or at least decrease it from maybe a level 8 anxiety or anger to maybe a level 3, you know, something a little bit more manageable. And then you would come back at a later time. And you could even say, I love you. I'm noticing in myself, my emotions are starting to rise to a very strong level where it's difficult for me to hear you and to communicate what I want to say back. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to go somewhere to calm down and come back and return in like half an hour or 1 hour or in 2 hours. How do you feel about that? Is that okay to do? So, and kind of even setting the stage saying, I may get worked up, and if that happens, I need to take out time out for me and then return back. Mm-hmm. So it's about being able to caretake, yourself in that way. And it takes about 20 to 30 minutes for your nervous system to calm back down. Mm-hmm. And that will basically work. So anything after like a 20 to 30 minute, you guys can plan to meet back up. Mm-hmm. That way they won't feel abandoned. That way you'll be able to address the issue. And then you'll be able to communicate from your point of view that this is something that you need to do to take care of yourself and something that can take care of the relationship. So like the family relationship or the love relationship and that sort of thing.
That's
so
great.
That's something
that's great intel, because if you try to go into these conversations in an emotional state, then it's like fueling the fire. And there's, as our emotions rise, our intelligence drops. Mm-hmm. So
we learned that from one of our guests on the show not that long ago.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And so taking that break, that time out to breathe and calm down, calm your nervous system before, so you can go into with some clarity and actually communicate on a diligent level instead of trying to tackle fire with fire.
Yeah. Rawr. I love that. Jaime, thank you so much. This has been awesome. Yeah, and okay, so for those that are around, where could people, or can you give out, do you have a website that people could find you?
Yeah.
Or a place? Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So, right now I'm giving therapy at the Hillside Wellness Center in Sherman Oaks, which is really great. And also, just so you guys know, since you are local in LA, I am going to run a rape and sexual assault healing group starting in January for women, for adults. So if any of you listeners would like help in regards to healing some sexual trauma, I can help you. Feel free to contact us at Hillside Wellness Center. And then I also give readings at Mystic Journey and over the phone. And you can also go to my website for psychic or astrology readings, and that's at fairyastrology.com.
And
Beautiful.
For those that don't know, we've had Jaime on the show before in the past specifically for astrology, and she's been my savior in both aspects, therapy and astrology, and well, not just astrology, all kinds of readings, psychic readings in that sense, and time and time again. And she's absolutely incredible, which is why I keep calling you and helping me through all of my crises that I seem to always have. So, but yeah, for those that are out there, she's absolutely amazing, whether it be you guys in need for therapy or for a reading. And it's actually a great gift.
Wonderful.
Yeah, whether you're going to gift
Christmas gifts.
Yeah, Christmas gifts. You could gift a session, whether it be a therapy session or whether it be a reading. That'd be kind of a cool idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. And did you do, I know you personally do, but for those out there, if they wanted to do a therapy session over Skype or Zoom or some other way, and they're like across the country, is that option available?
So I know that I could only, I'm getting my license right now, so I don't have a license. I would only be able to do it at the center under a supervisor's license. Okay. But I could do like a life coaching session.
Awesome.
With somebody over, electronically, that sort of thing. So we could definitely do like a life coaching thing. Okay. And it would be very therapeutic, and I'd be able to include some therapy interventions as well as also be very more directive with it and be able to help you like meet goals and accomplish things in your life to progress it forward in ways that you really want, and, also help you process emotional, wounds that you've gone through in your life.
Awesome. And I say this because there are people listening from all over the world right now.
Totally.
We're not just, even though it's LA Talk Radio, we are all over.
We are worldwide.
Yeah. So I just want to say that
Definitely.
for those out there, so we can cover everyone just in case there's anyone that resonates with what you say and they want to find you. So great.
Jaime, thank you so much for showing up and doing what you do in the world. We really appreciate your work, and it's such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys so much. I so appreciate you bringing me on, and I think you guys are a pleasure, so thank you.
Thank you so much. And we are out of time for this week's episode, but for those that want to listen in again, if you didn't get the full episode, this episode will be available on soulsexypodcast.com and latalkradio.com probably within an hour. It'll also be available on the app. You guys can find us Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time, again on soulsexypodcast.com. Me personally, you can follow me on Instagram at Real Bridgetta. Charles?
Check me out at Vacation Vibration on Instagram and greatestyou.com. That's greatest with the capital U.com. And for all of your excellent needs, come see me.
And for those, again, this is Jaime Allen that has been a guest on our show, and you may find her at fairyastrology.com or at Hillside Wellness Center. Am I saying that right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Nailed it.
Awesome. Yay. I hope everyone has a very safe and loving and communicative happy vibes, holidays, whatever they may be and whatever you may be doing. And we shall see you next time. Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.